If you're an immigrant living in the United States, whether you're applying for a green card, renewing your work permit, or planning to file for citizenship, stop scrolling because what I'm about to tell you could directly affect your legal status. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, better known as USCIS, has quietly rolled out brand new immigration forms that every applicant must start using in 2025. These aren't minor tweaks. We're talking about critical changes in layout, sections, supporting documents, and filing instructions. And if you submit an outdated version by mistake, your entire application could be rejected without notice. Yes, rejected, no refund, no warning. Now here's the catch. Most people don't even know these new forms exist. USCIS isn't blasting out alerts on social media, and immigration offices aren't mailing letters to tell you what's changed. In fact, many applicants still have the older forms saved on their computers or printed from a previous year, completely unaware that using the wrong version could destroy months or even years of progress. And for seniors or family-based applicants, this is especially dangerous. One incorrect date, missing barcode, or outdated certification box could flag your file and delay your case indefinitely. This is why immigration lawyers and advocates are urging applicants to double-check everything before they file. The new forms have updated expiration dates, restructured sections for biometric information, and added questions related to public charge concerns and supporting evidence. If you don't know where to look, you'll miss it, and the consequences could be serious. So in this video, I'll walk you through exactly which forms have changed, how to download the correct version, and what to avoid when filling them out in 2025. If you or someone in your family is applying this year, don't risk a denial over a simple form mistake. Hit that like button to support this content and make sure more people in our community get this urgent update. Let's protect your immigration journey together. So let's dive straight into the reality that's catching so many people off guard. As we enter 2025, the U.S. immigration system is undergoing a wave of administrative changes, and one of the most overlooked but critical parts of this change is something as seemingly simple as a form. But in immigration, nothing is ever just simple. Forms are the legal vehicles that carry your status, your identity, and your future through a complicated bureaucracy that doesn't always make things clear. That's what makes these new 2025 USCIS form updates so urgent to understand. For so many immigrants, especially seniors or those applying for benefits like naturalization or family reunification, the entire process already feels overwhelming. And now, with revised versions of key documents being introduced, and with little to no announcement from official channels, the risk of submitting incorrect paperwork is higher than it's ever been. Imagine this. Someone spends hours, maybe days, filling out their N-400 to become a U.S. citizen. They check every box, attach the required documentation, pay the filing fee, and send it in with confidence. A few weeks later, they get a letter from USCIS that the form was rejected. Why? Not because they missed a signature or skipped a question. No, it's because they used an outdated version of the form that's no longer accepted as of January 2025. It's devastating, and yet, it's a reality that is happening to more people than ever. And unless they catch the mistake and refile within a specific timeline, they might have to restart the entire process, repay the fees, and possibly even face issues with maintaining lawful status depending on their situation. Now, let's talk about which forms have actually changed, because it's not just one or two. USCIS has introduced updated versions of the I-485 Adjustment of Status, I-130 Petition for Alien Relative, I-765 Work Authorization, and the N-400 Naturalization. These forms have not only been revised in terms of format, but also contain new fields, questions, and instructions that are critical to complete properly. For example, the new I-485 form now includes more detailed questions on public benefits and financial responsibility, questions that didn't exist in older versions. This isn't just a technical revision. This reflects a shift in how USCIS is evaluating applications. And for immigrants who are not fluent in English or are relying on friends or family members to help them fill out these forms, these changes can easily go unnoticed. That's where mistakes begin. And it's not just about errors, it's about entire applications being thrown out due to technical noncompliance. You might be wondering why USCIS made these changes now. Well, part of it is procedural. They're required to renew their forms every few years as part of compliance with the Paperwork Reduction Act and internal auditing processes. But behind the scenes, these updates often reflect deeper shifts in policy direction. For example, the new forms require more documentation to prove financial independence, likely tied to public charge rules that have been floated and revised under different administrations. In simple terms, USCIS wants more details on whether an applicant could become a financial burden on the system. That might sound straightforward, but it means more paperwork, more explanation, and a greater burden on the applicant to prove their eligibility. And if you don't know the rules or don't understand what's being asked, it's very easy to leave a section incomplete or misinterpret a question. And that's where denials happen. Another huge concern is how these changes disproportionately affect older immigrants. Many seniors who have held green cards for decades are finally reaching the point where they feel ready to naturalize. But they might not have a computer at home, or even if they do, they may not know how to verify if a form is current. They may rely on a version a friend emailed them or one they picked up months ago from a community center. And if that form is outdated, they may have no idea until they're hit with a rejection notice. For these seniors, the process already feels intimidating. Adding confusing new formats and changes just adds to that stress. That's why it's critical for family members, caretakers, and immigrant communities to stay informed and help each other verify that they're using the right documents every single time. Now, let's talk briefly about where to actually find the most up-to-date forms. You can always go directly to the USCIS website, and that's the safest option. When you go to their homepage, there's a Forms tab right at the top. Each form listed there has a version number and expiration date. It's important to match the expiration date listed on the form to the one on the USCIS website. Even if it looks similar, even if you think it's just a small difference, if the expiration date doesn't match the current version, do not use it. Only download and fill out the form that matches exactly what USCIS shows online. Anything else could cost you your case. There's another layer of concern here, and that's third-party websites that host downloadable immigration forms. Many of these websites are outdated or operate as lead generators for legal services. They don't always keep forms current. If someone downloads a form from one of these platforms without checking the official site, they could unknowingly be setting themselves up for rejection. That's why it's important to always go to USCIS.gov directly, not to copycat domains or commercial help sites. The same applies for printed forms you may have picked up at a local immigration event or workshop. Always double-check before using them. Immigration is too important to risk it on guesswork. In 2025, USCIS is also rolling out updates to the online filing system, and some applicants are being encouraged to submit their forms digitally rather than by mail. While this can speed up processing, it adds another layer of confusion for people who aren't tech-savvy. There are now digital form versions that autofill based on your answers, but even these must be filled out correctly and match all supporting documentation. Uploading scanned PDFs, using outdated formats, or forgetting to include required evidence can result in technical denials. So, whether you're filing online or on paper, understanding these changes and how they affect you is absolutely critical. It's also important to understand how long delays can affect your overall immigration path. Let's say your work authorization expires in 4 months, and you submit a renewal using the old version of Form I-765. It gets rejected 2 months later. You now have to resubmit it using the correct form, but the processing clock starts over. By the time you get your new approval, your work authorization may have already lapsed. That could mean missed paychecks, job loss, or falling out of compliance with visa requirements. And that's just one form. If you're applying for adjustment of status or naturalization, delays could affect your ability to travel, access benefits, or even stay in status depending on your case. Beyond the paperwork, this all speaks to something larger. The U.S. immigration system is becoming more document-driven and digitally managed, and that means applicants are now expected to understand legal procedures that even some lawyers find complex. The gap between policy and real-world understanding is growing wider, especially for elderly immigrants, non-English speakers, and those without legal help. This is why education and awareness are more important than ever. Watching this video, sharing it with your loved ones, and helping someone double-check their application form could be the difference between approval and denial. And while it may sound intimidating, it doesn't have to be. Once you know what to look for, the correct form number, the version date, the updated instructions, you can navigate these changes confidently. The goal of this video is not to scare you, but to empower you. USCIS isn't going to send reminders or alerts to every household. They expect you to be responsible for getting it right. And that's why channels like this one exist, to break it down in plain language, step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to confirm your form is valid, where to download it safely, and how to avoid the most common mistakes that are costing people thousands of dollars in lost filing fees and months of processing time. This is your roadmap through the 2025 immigration form updates, and whether you're helping a parent, guiding a neighbor, or applying for yourself, this knowledge is now more important than ever. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to thank you, because being informed is the first step toward protecting your future. Immigration isn't just about paperwork. It's about family, about stability, about the ability to build a life without fear or interruption. And every form you file is a brick in that foundation. So let's make sure we get it right. And remember, you're not alone in this. If this video helped clarify even one thing for you, imagine how many people in our community are still in the dark. Don't keep this to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe for more urgent updates, and most importantly, share this video with at least one person who needs to hear it. You could be saving someone from a rejected application or a months-long delay. Let's spread awareness together and make 2025 a year of progress, not setbacks.